This is Taria, Pritchett, confidence coach for women, and I'm so excited to be sharing. I'm like, let me go on here and let me go live because I had a message. Thank you to everybody who's completed my survey recently. And what's been coming up a lot is unworthiness and wholeness, right? Has been coming up very high on that survey list out of the 3 different topics that was given. If there's anybody that is new that is watching, I'm Taria Pritchett. I'm a confidence coach for women. I work with professional women who appear to be beautiful and blessed and have this great life on the outside, but deep down they feel like they're a hot mess. So typically they struggle with feeling whole, with feeling worthy, with feeling secure. I feel like I have like lip gloss right here. So they come to me because they are ready for that change. They're ready for that healing. And I help them go from feeling like a hot mess to a fierce success. So today I want to talk about unworthiness, because unworthiness is the root of pretty much everyone's issue who ever comes to me, whether it's about helping them with their business, whether it has to do with the relationships and men, whether they want to be closer to God, or whether it's just within their own selves and they want to be more confident at work, or they just want to be more confident within themselves. Hi, thank you for joining. Hopefully my connection is strong enough. So let's talk about what worthiness is, and let's talk about what unworthiness is, right? So many of us as women and men, right, feel like we are unworthy, right? And that's why I got this shirt on, which is perfect. I just threw this on today, but it's the perfect shirt for today because it says super love, right? And a woman who feels as though she is worthy and she is whole, she knows this right here. She knows she is super loved. So I purchased this a couple years ago. If it's 2017, about 3 years ago, because that's when I feel as though I was going through a spiritual awakening. I had a very bootleg relationship, and I believe that that relationship was there to really teach me about wholeness, worthiness, and self-love. So I bought this and I used to wear it all the time during that particular time period. And this summer I realized I hadn't worn it that much. So I went and I looked for it. And ever since I've been putting it on recently, I always get compliments wherever I go. Like, oh my God, I like that shirt, right? Because it's the super loved. And when you're a woman that's worthy, that's whole, right? And you know who you are, you know whose you are, whatever higher power you believe in, and everything you do and everything about you is really rooted in that higher power and who you are, then you know that you're whole and you know that you're worthy. If not, then there are pieces of you that are broken, or there are pieces of you that are settling, that are stuck, that are single. And maybe you're not single, but you're in a relationship, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the right divine relationship for you. Because a lot of times when it comes to worthiness, trying to prove that we're worthy, and we're trying to prove that our worthiness, a lot of us forget that worthiness is not about what you do, right? And it's like you're always trying to hustle to make stuff happen. You're trying to force things to happen. You're trying to force yourself to have this perfect relationship so it looks that way on, you know, Facebook or Instagram, right? You're doing a lot of forcing. And in my Powerfully Positioned Woman Academy, that's the very first module that we address, is that those concepts of force versus flow, right? We go really deep into that before we cover anything else, because I have to get them to surrender. I have to let them to let go of that, right? That's the first starting piece of really letting go of unworthiness, right? But if you want to be in a place where you are whole, right, and you know that you're worthy, it's not about what you do. You don't have to pick up all of these extra hours at work to prove your worth and to prove your value. You don't have to charge people, if you have a business, you know, $20 for something when it's really worth $200 if you think about the value you're providing to them and to their life, right? So, but some of us, we stay in our comfort zone, right? Look at my coworker, she's sending me all this stuff. But a lot of us stay in our comfort zone and we settle, or we stay stuck in that comfort zone because we don't think that we're really worthy enough of charging more, or we're afraid of what other people will think, right? It's about the doing of things. I'm afraid to do this. I'm afraid to do that. What if they say this? What if they say that? What if I get rejected? What if nobody responds, right? And we have all of this inner stuff in our mind and in our head about what we're doing or not doing. But being worthy is not about what you do. It's not about what you do. It ain't about the man that you got, right? I see that so often, right? And it's just like, it makes me cringe how people cling to men. And there'll be people who've been married for years and years. And that's beautiful that you got this marriage, and marriage is a beautiful thing, but the way you clinging on to him is ridiculous, like having no identity of your own and being so attached. And I'm just like, wow, like that's unworthiness up and down, right? And I don't get deep everywhere I go because everybody can't handle that. But it just blows my mind seeing that unworthiness on women who are 50, 60, 70. And yeah, there are some, cute couples. And again, God's not looking for cute couples. He's looking for called couples, but that's a whole different video. But there are some cute couples who've been together for 30, 40, 50 years, and it's beautiful and it's mutual. They have their own identity. One of my own mentors, Dr. Ware, love their relationships, but she has her own identity. Even if you go to her house, she will be like, oh, all right, gotta go. I'll see you later. Okay, where are we going, right? It has our own identity separate, right? Which is that worthiness, which is that wholeness piece that a lot of us forget because we're so busy hustling, enforcing that relationship because we just desire it and we want it now. We want to have that by 30 years old. If we don't have it by 30 years old, then what do we do? Right? I know people who marry people just to meet that 30-year-old mark because that is your timing. But you have done no work on yourself to be worthy, to be whole as a woman. Like, what are you doing? Right? And sometimes it takes for us to have those type of experiences so that we learn that. And then there are some of us who don't learn and we go back and we do the same thing over again. And we might get married a couple of times, right? Because we haven't learned that lesson quite yet. So again, let's go back. Unworthiness, right? Unworthiness is the root of all suffering. Unworthiness, right? It keeps women stuck. Like I said, in their comfort zone. It keeps women single. They're unable to really get the man that's really divinely for them, right? Because they're doing what? They're settling, right? Settling with things that are less than they deserve and not living up to that potential because they don't feel worthy of it. They don't feel like they're worth it. And again, that's because we focus so much on what we do or things that have been said to us, right? Or things that have happened in the past, right? Because the old stories, the old messages from when we are little girls, right? Things that we see on TV, things that we see on social media, things we hear from our friends. We also allow that to dictate how worthy we are, right? Which keeps us stuck, single, settling, and most importantly, insecure. I'm about to go catch up on Insecure, the show. In a second, because I just watched the first episode a few days ago and I'm like, I think I could vibe with this. Because there are so many things to unpack there, which I love, right? So, again, unworthiness is not about what you do for him, right? Because a lot of us are so insecure that we give him our everything. My best friend and I, we had this conversation the other night about how she's like, and she really hasn't been in like a real serious committed relationship in like never. Like she always has like these guys that kind of come into her life. But we had this super deep conversation at like 2 a.m. Literally, we were on the phone for like 3 hours by the time we were done. She was like, I like how this turned into, hey, what's up? Let's talk about T.I. and Tiny. And then we went into like a whole coaching session out of nowhere. Because she was just saying how she gives so much. She gives so much. Even though she doesn't have a title, she's not in a relationship, but she just gives all of this stuff over. And I'm like, okay, why? So I'm like, let's unpack this. I gave her homework and everything. I need to catch up with her on that homework, just like if she's a client. I'm like, okay, here's your homework for tonight. Right? Because we think sometimes when we give to our children, right? If we have patients or we have students or we have clients or customers, we just keep giving of ourselves. That will prove our worth and our value and people will see it. But then guess what happens? We get mad when our child doesn't reciprocate that because we're looking for something, because we're proving and striving and hustling for something to happen. Or you get angry, you get resentful if you're putting out all this free content, if you have a business and then nobody wants to buy from you, right? You get angry, you get resent, you get resentful, right? Because you're giving so much out to other people and it does not feel good because of the place you're giving it from. That's because you're coming from a place of unworthiness. You're coming from a place of brokenness. You're coming from a place where there are some things that you need to work on. And sometimes we don't really realize, depending on who you are, depending on how confident you think you are. So if I talk to you and you're like, oh, I'm about an 8 or 9. 9 times out of 10 is something that needs to be dealt with or something that needs to be worked on. But we mask things up, right? Mask on, mask off, like Future. We put a mask on because we want to look the part. And it's like, okay, I'm the strong, powerful, confident woman on the outside. That's why I say a lot of my clients are really beautiful and they're really successful. When I go sneak and look at people's profiles, I'm like, oh my God, she is gorgeous. Or they, you know, if they have a business, they already have a website up. Or they're like a doctor. Or they're, you know what I mean? Like they're like a powerful woman, right? And they appear to be. But on the inside, there are parts of unworthiness, right? And that's that little girl in you who is striving, hustling, forcing, trying to prove herself to the rest of the world so that she can be loved. Right? So she can be loved, so she can be seen, so she can be heard, right? And we look for that all over the place. And for us, the easiest place a lot of the times is with men because we're looking for that love. We're looking for that covering from a guy. We're looking for that providing. We're looking for that protection from a guy. It's easy, right? To look there for. And I know I did that for at least 10 years straight. I know I personally did that. And I didn't realize I was looking for my identity in everything else. Especially in men, right? And one of my issues, my unworthiness issue, and it hit me like, damn, that's my issue, is always in a relationship, right? I'm super, super powerful, super good at being magnetic and attracting men. Phenomenal. Like a boss, right? But it's like my pattern was I would be with somebody, then I realized I don't really like you like that, but I like somebody else. I can remember breaking up with somebody, leaving them in the parking lot, right? And I'm in tears, driving to meet another person to go on a date. Isn't that crazy? That would be me. That's always how I am. Always how I used to be. My bad. I'm not like that anymore. But driving, crying. My mom's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm good. And then 5 minutes later, so-and-so is ready to pick me up and take me on another date. Isn't that crazy? Just jumping around, right? And that is crazy and that is ridiculous. But it didn't even hit me, right? And it still didn't even hit me to actually very, very recently. And it's like, wow, just jumping around. And it's like, okay, you need to take a step back and you need to examine this. Why are you doing that? And this is the question you have to ask yourself. I was just talking to one of my clients 2 weeks ago. And her progress is phenomenal. But anyway, and I told her this as well. I said, ask yourself, because she was saying there are certain nights per week where she starts to feel that unworthiness creeping up. Like she's been doing the work for the last year. She did my Unleash Your Fears program. And we caught up a whole year after we initially connected and we worked together. And the progress, let me tell you, outstanding. But she was saying there's one day per week that kind of creeps up on her. And she feels very unworthy. And she feels like she wants to grab food. You know, she's really yearning for a companion because she's now single. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. And I said, ask yourself this question. What are you avoiding? What am I avoiding? And I had to ask myself that same question when I was jumping from relationship to relationship, right? Because that is unworthiness. That's not realizing that you're this, that you're super loved. And who are you super loved by? You are super loved by your higher power. So if you want to go beyond self-love, you need to look at super love, right? And super love is the love and only you can get from a higher power or God. In my case, it's God. You might, know Allah, somebody else. I don't know. But from God. So what I'm searching for in all these different people is really what I can get from God. But I'm too busy searching around, not realizing that He has everything that I need. And that's how you begin to undo unworthiness. That's how you begin to feel more secure with yourself. When you know that there is somebody, your higher power, who is constantly has you in the palm of your hand, constantly guiding you, constantly forgiving you, constantly having mercy on you, just constantly loving you, constantly has their hand on you in your life, constantly has mercy for you, constantly has compassion for you. And even if you mess up, you make a mistake, even if you are jumping from relationship to relationship, even if you are afraid to step out of your comfort zone, even when you get rejected or you feel abandoned or you feel down or you feel like you're settling or your confidence is low, that higher power is always there. It's unshakable. It don't go nowhere. You might jump in and out of relationships, right? You might jump in from different jobs. You might, feel like you get stabbed in the back. You might feel like somebody has cheated you or been, disloyal. You might feel betrayed. But he will never change at all. He will never forsake you, right? But you out here putting all of your time and energy into striving, hustling to prove your worthiness. To who? To prove that you have this glamorous life on Facebook. To prove that you got this job and it's going on. To prove that you got it all together when you step out the door or somebody sees you and somebody asks you, how you're doing. And I'm like, oh, everything's okay. When everything really isn't okay, right? That's like you're trying to prove that you're living this great life and things are well, instead of being real. Instead of telling your truth, instead of being honest. Because a worthy woman, she can be in her truth. She can be authentic. She can have compassion for herself. She can forgive herself. She's courageous enough to step out of her comfort zone because she knows if she steps out, two things are going to happen. It's either going to be a blessing or it's going to be a lesson. Even if it's rejection, it's going to be a blessing or it's going to be a lesson. And we're all here to learn lessons. You've learned a number of them up until this point. So what are you waiting for? So worthiness is not about what you do. It's not about what you're trying to prove to other people. It's not about what you're trying to accomplish. Worthiness is about who you are. It's about who you be. Worthiness, wholeness is about who you are and who you be. And who are you? Within your own eyes. And when you have a hard time, because at this point, your little filters, your lenses are probably very cluttered. Right? If you don't think that you're worthy, you don't think that you're worth it, you don't think you're worth being saved, you don't think that you're worth having compassion, you don't think you're worth, forgiveness, you think that God is going to condemn you because you been with these different men, or you are getting a divorce, or you are not really walking in purpose, or you listen to the wrong music, or you sinned, or you had sex before marriage, or whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you feel right, that causes you to feel like you're not whole, that causes you to feel like you're unworthy, whatever that is, in here and in here, it can be healed, right? All you gotta do is say, God, work on me, because I feel insecure. I feel like I'm settling. I feel like I'm stuck. Work on me. Where do I need to clear out the things here that can get me to that next level, that can push me into the next space, right? Is what you need to start thinking and what you need to start saying when you're having these conversations with God. Now, granted, a lot of us are just going to church. We're going to church, or we're just going to Bible study, and we don't have that constant, consistent connection with God. Because a lot of women come to me and say, oh, I want to strengthen that relationship. Because God should be all up in here. You should be giving him complete, total access to all parts of you. Because he can see whatever you're doing anyway. For one, he made you. He brought you here. He knows what you're doing, even if you think you're hiding or you can't say this or that. He knows everything you're doing. He knows what you're about to do. He knows what he brought you here to do, and he knows when you're out of alignment what he's called you to do. But that doesn't mean that his mercy for you changes or shifts because of that, right? So we got to keep that in mind. But I think a lot of times we forget that, and that's why we feel unworthy, right? I'm not worth it to charge my worth. I'm not worth it to be in a relationship with that kind of man. I'm not worth it because of my flaws, because of my mistakes, because of this, because of that. I'm not worth it. I'm not valuable enough. Girl, he made you whole, complete. When you're born as a little baby, you're whole, you're complete. Now, once you get down here, it's a whole different story. You know, once your parents start putting their whatever on you and they have their experiences with divorce or neglect or abuse, or it could be the opposite. They could be very loving, you know, and they could be very present for you. But one thing I know for sure, it doesn't matter if they were very present or they were a hot mess. That it doesn't matter what your upbringing was, right? Whether they were amazing, fabulous, whatever, or whether they was real bootleg, it doesn't matter. Because either way, you still have the responsibility to take ownership over your life. And also, it doesn't matter how amazing they may have been as parents or how amazing your childhood might have been. There's always inner work that needs to be done. Because there's always a new level that you're striving to get to, that you need to get to, so that you can be the highest, fullest expression of yourself. So either way, to get there, it's stuff you got to unpack. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Oprah Winfrey. And I can't even say I don't care if you're Oprah Winfrey. And I have this quote in my book when Oprah says she lives a very amazing life. Why? Because she's done a whole lot of inner work on herself. Ayanna Van Zandt will tell you the same thing. Will Smith will tell you the same thing. Jada Pinkett Smith will tell you the same thing. I really can't think of many people who you see, especially with platforms, who haven't. Now, people who are using their platforms in inappropriate ways, such as like certain rappers who are, you know, promoting drugs and all that, clearly they haven't done the inner work. Clearly they are unconscious. Clearly they're unaware. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they've been called to do. Like, they're in a whole different level. They don't know what they're doing. Right? But it's really hard for you to become a worthy, wealthy, winning, you know, whole woman if you don't do the inner work on the inside to be made whole. Right? To be made whole. To know your worth and your value and to reclaim it, right? Just like Auntie Maxine just said, when somebody kept talking over her, what did she say? Wait a minute. I'm reclaiming my time. And that's the same thing with you, right? Because you have so much noise coming your way from your own mind, from what other people are saying, thinking, what you think other people are saying or thinking, things that are happening. You have so many distractions around you. What you need to do is be like Auntie Maxine and say, wait a minute. I'm reclaiming my worth. I'm reclaiming my wholeness. Right? Because I'm going to be a wife, honey. Okay? I'm going to be successful. I'm going to move out this comfort zone. So excuse me. Wait a minute. You're trying to talk. Clearly, you're trying to hold me back. Wait a minute. Got to reclaim my time. I got to reclaim my wholeness. I got to reclaim my worthiness. I got to reclaim my power. Right? Because within you, God has instilled power. That's why I named my new program Powerfully Positioned Woman Academy. And there's different types of power within the Bible. Have you ever heard of dunamis power? D-U-N-A-M-I-S. Dunamis power, right? Which is a power instilled in people in the Bible, such as Jesus, right? But also it's a power that you possess, that we all possess, right? He gave you power. Yeah, power. Obviously, when using it the right way, we ain't talking about 50 Cent type power. Okay, Keenan, no, we ain't talking about that kind of power. But we're talking about the biblical type of power. You have the power invested in you to be whole. You have the power invested in you to be worthy and to reclaim your rightful seat on your throne. So it's time. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your worthiness. Reclaim your wholeness. You are worthy of that and you are worth that. Right? I hope that you have enjoyed this teaching. I hope you have enjoyed this video because I just had that message on my heart. I know a lot of people keep responding to my survey and wholeness and worthiness is coming up a lot. So I want to spend a lot of time in the next month or two making that a huge focus, right? And remembering that you're super loved. You was loved since you was in the womb, before you was even in there. So your wholeness and your worthiness is waiting for you to reclaim it. It's waiting for you to restore it. You are already. You already have it, right? You just need to be restored. You just need to be reclaimed. You just need to be reminded that worthiness is a birthright. Wholeness is a birthright. Love, God is love. Love is a birthright, right? The giving at birth, you are love. God is love. You're love. What does that mean? God is in you, right? I'm just saying. So you're already whole. You're already complete, right? It's a matter of you being reminded that you have this dunamis within you. You have the power already invested in you. So it's time for you to reclaim your time, because you've lost a lot of time thinking, feeling like you're not loved, like you're not worthy, like you're not whole, when you already are. So it's time that you reclaim those things for yourself. And if you are really, truly ready to reclaim it, send me an email and let me know what resonated with you the most. Or drop me a comment below and let me know what really has connected with you and what more you would like to learn about being whole and about being worthy, stepping out of that comfort zone as well. All right? Hopefully you enjoy. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your worth. Right? And reclaim your wholeness. You can do it. I'm going to show you how to put your back, your mind, body, and soul into it.